I remember at the beginning of the quarter, I was thinking that I knew a lot about addiction. Um, in fact, I kind of had it in my head that I knew almost everything about addiction because I was like, oh, I grew up with, a bunch of people who were addicted to substances. I've seen it all, blah, blah, blah. But I think one thing that I was taught by this class this quarter was that just because you've seen it doesn't mean you know it. And I think that was something that was, I wouldn't say life changing, but definitely inspirational in the fact that I learned that I'm never going to understand it fully because I haven't gone through it. And so it was actually, I think, really good of this quarter to kind of teach me that, to teach me that there's more things than just how it affects the family, how it affects the person itself. It's more like I hadn't thought of like treatments, like medical assisted treatment. I didn't realize there was so much controversy over that because I grew up with my mom always takes Suboxone, so I hadn't realized there was so much controversy over that. And then reading why people are so against it, it makes sense. I'm still for it, but it makes sense. And then other things like prevention and intervention, while I knew subconsciously what those were, I wasn't applying those two concepts um, to addiction, if that makes sense. I hadn't realized how important the prevention part of the public health model actually was until I started researching it and realizing that we do need to target youth in high-risk communities and, teach them in a way that they're going to listen, not just in a way that's kind of a mandated class that they have to attend or something. I think, and especially just applying this like right now with this whole coronavirus thing going around, we're preventing it, and it would be a lot worse if we were only intervening and doing the intervention part, if that makes sense. And that's the same with all different kinds of things, disease, addiction, gambling. That is an addiction. What's the word I'm looking for? Gangs, violent, like communities with like have a high risk of gang violence and stuff like that. Going in and teaching the youth that there's an alternative to what they're taught, right? But I think it's really cool to see that my opinion about addiction keeps changing and changing, and I know that it will keep changing the further I go into a career that's focused around substance abuse. And that's another thing this class taught me was I had it set in my mind of something I really wanted to do. I wanted to help victims of sex trafficking, and after taking just 1 week of this class, I knew exactly that this was the career path for me. I knew exactly that this is exactly where I needed to be, and I'm on the right path. And I'm really thankful that this class got to teach me that. But I did want to mention that Jeanette Hadenchet, I hope that's how you pronounce her last name, or Janelle, sorry, and the blog Hers 14 Voices of the Year. I really liked how she said, we start like you did, when she was explaining that we don't start with a needle, addicts, they don't start just craving heroin or anything. They start, drinking in high school and starting that, and then it's not only, she said that it's not until she realizes that it's too late when it's too late. And then another part of what she said was at the end when she was saying, I don't know why I get to live and why she doesn't. And she was saying that you shouldn't put her above another crack addict because they have the same disease. She just happened to have, the resources and stuff to live. I think that is really inspiring and something to take away, and something that I wish more people in the world understood, that addiction really isn't a choice. And that's another thing that changed my process. I knew that addiction wasn't a choice, but there was still some part in my head where I was like, it kind of is. But actually realizing and researching and learning the actual neuroscience behind it and seeing that there actually is a chemical imbalance and there actually is a reason as to why it's not a choice scientifically, not just throughout an opinion, of being in the human services major, that was super cool for me to find out, because I was really able to grasp onto that and explore it. And I'm excited to keep exploring the scientific part as to why addiction is the way it is. And then one thing I do want to explore more after this last reflection was why the baby boomers, why their drug overdose increased. That's kind of confusing to me. I wish I knew the scientific reason why or anything. I'm actually going to do some research on it later during the spring break. But yeah, that was interesting to find out. And then another thing is how the drug overdoses are the lead cause of death in America. That was really crazy to hear too, because I mean, I knew that. I've read it multiple times throughout the past year or two, but I think just kind of reading it over and over and over again this quarter was kind of just a little alarming. And I'm wondering how many people who don't really understand substance abuse, which is a large part of American culture, do they even know? Are they even aware that drug overdose is the leading cause? And if that is, then how do so many people believe that I mean, I know it's out of ignorance, but it's crazy to me that so many people believe that addiction is a choice when that is the leading cause of death in America. I don't know. I think I never really was the kind of person that wanted to spread the word of or be an advocator of things. I didn't like before Western, I never liked the idea of standing outside with a sign saying fight for this. I knew it was important, but I was never that kind of person that wanted to advocate or advocate for anything. But I definitely want to start something or some kind of, I don't know, something to get the word out there that addiction isn't a choice and spread awareness of that, because I hadn't realized how many people and how, like, even the government, people higher in government who are in charge of prison systems believe that addiction is a choice. Anyway, yeah, this quarter taught me more than any other quarter has ever taught me, like just this class, I think. So I do want to say thank you for that. And also, side note, if you haven't seen the movie Beautiful Boy, it's on Amazon Prime if you have it. It's really, really good, and it's about a boy who's addicted to heroin, and it's from his father's perspective. I think a lot of people who are interested in substance abuse should watch it. If you haven't, go ahead and give it a watch. Anyway, thank you for an amazing quarter. Thanks.